Welcome back and happy Friday. It's been quite a week, quite a couple weeks here in the world and in the markets, and I want to take a look at oil with you because it's been surging higher ever since the war in Ukraine broke out. But what's next, right? How much farther up can it go, and what's ahead that might cause it to change direction or keep rising? That's what we're going to take a look at here. So again, today's Friday, March 4th, 2022. Now, important reminder before we look at the charts that trading and investing can be extremely risky business. Therefore, it's your responsibility to evaluate any information, opinion, advice, or other content contained in my video. All right, so let's refresh our memories on the last time I posted a video like this on oil. So it was back on January 20th. So that's this gray vertical line that you see here, okay? So this was the action on the continuous contract chart. Now, because oil has a front month for every individual month, right, each of the 12 months of the year, the contract chart will change in the pricing numbers regularly. And so the value that I gave for a forecast back then was not this exact value, but it was determined by the same calculation. So if you take the forecast I shared on January 20th, relate it to the price action now, then on January 20th, I had a forecast for futures to continue to rise. So this 84.33 was the upside target, but the timing for that was February 7th. And you can see this ended up being extremely useful. We did continue the uptrend into February 7th. There was just a couple days of a dip below, but we did not break any of the key price lows on the chart and continued higher. That key timing point also turned into a brief pause, right? We rallied higher, then had this candle with this tiny red body here, and then corrected lower for a couple days. All of this, notice, with the RSI power zones coming up just about into the bull resistance power zone. Okay, now, unless you have been completely not looking at the markets, you've probably heard or felt it at the gas tank that oil futures are really surging higher. And here's what the chart looks like, okay? So here's what unfolded from there. And look at where we are now, guys, okay? It's pretty wild stuff to see. But this is where we are right now. I'm just gonna give us a little more space on the chart to analyze. Now here's the thing. My traditional forecasting techniques that I teach in the loss forecasting trading system would have absolutely helped you create the forecast that I had back for February 7th and that price of 84.33. But now look at the trend. It's just shooting up higher, right? How do you navigate forecasts in fast moving markets, in volatile ones that are likely here to stay at least until the conflict in Ukraine is more resolved? Well, that's where you have to start bringing in advanced techniques. And advanced techniques just kind of take you to the next level, okay? By having that base of the foundational forecasting education, you're then able to kind of open up more trade opportunities. So what I would do here as one of my techniques that I'm going to be giving more explicit education on very soon, keep an eye out, is look at a lower time frame. Okay, so we don't change our trading time frame in our deployment of our setups, but we can use other time frames to help us narrow in on setups. So I'm simply going to go ahead and change this from a daily to a 60-minute chart right here. Now, when we look back in to that February 24th day that the war started and where we are now, you can see there's much more clear moves, all right? So one thing I want to bring your attention to is that the RSI power zones on the 60-minute chart, they were overbought for a long time, even when we were only halfway up this move. So just because your RSI power zones get overbought doesn't mean it's time to sell, whether it's sell to exit or sell to go short, okay? So that's one key takeaway here. Notice too how there were these corrections back down into previous price action, but all the RSI powers did was relieve themselves from overbought conditions to oversold for a bull market. They stabilized and then have been continuing higher. Now I'm going to show you two lines you can draw here. These are just plain old trend lines, but they can really help you as you navigate the days ahead. And then I'll touch upon some of the advanced forecasting that I might use to help navigate this market. So first, I see a trend line joining this low to this low. We always want to connect trend lines to the next actual chronological low. We don't want to skip over lows in between and try to best fit the lines. So when you connect these two low points, look at how you get a confirmation of that happened at 4 o'clock this morning, okay, into the 4 a.m. Eastern hour. On the flip side, looking at the highs, there was this middle of the night high that if you connect from that level right to the high that came after it, You can see it was confirmed at 8 p.m. the night before. See how these two simple trend lines both had confirmation and both created this tight area of trading that you could watch for a breakout? These are some of the tools to help you when markets are volatile. But again, what do you do to try to be able to forecast in these situations? Well, again, I'm going to be teaching that more in depth soon, but I do want to give you a helping hand and give you a forecast to keep an eye on going forward here with oil. So I'll be back in a minute. All right, so I'm back and here it is. You're looking at this and wondering, what is this floating out in space here, Hema? This is the result of some of my advanced forecasting methods where I'm accounting for the fact that there was consolidation here, but then bringing in layers of my foundational tools, all right? So what this is saying, and I know it might sound really wild and crazy, but this is what you should be prepared for if you trade oil. If the upward surge in oil continues, right? If there's not some other factor that comes in to really halt the threat of Russia's oil not getting to its neighboring countries that need it, or if there's not a dump of supply on the market by Middle Eastern producers, right? These are real things happening right now that could even occur over the weekend. If those things don't happen, and oil just keeps going up in price because of limited supply or the threat of limited supply and continued demand, right? We're all still using it. We could see $130 a barrel as soon as next week. Not saying to go trade that, not saying it's happening for sure. This is a pretty severe forecast, and it's only if these really powerful forces continue forward. That's why it's important to know how to calculate these things so that you know what undoes it, right? So at the outset, what I'm going to give you is this. If the market moves below this consolidation level here, so between this low at 107 or between this low at 105, if it moves below that range, especially 105, then this forecast is off the table, okay? Again, there's a very real possibility that a big bunch of supply of oil is going to come in the market and let prices simmer down. But again, if that doesn't happen, this is the path, okay? So keep an eye out on the price action. Always want to use price action to confirm. I'm going to do a little thing here. I'm going to change this back to daily chart. I don't know if I'll lose this annotation. We're going to see here. Okay, I did not lose it. So here it is. Those two trend lines, obviously you can see, aren't so useful now because they kind of just went wonky on the daily chart. But now it's sitting at this little dot here. This dot, think of it as a magnet on price if the surge higher in oil continues. It's a very severe surge. It's a very sharp move. And in any market analysis, the sharper the move higher, the less likely it's going to sustain, okay? Because that's like some severe buying pressure that needs to go into this. But if it happens, it happens. And the reason I'm saying it this way is because just a couple weeks ago, before the war broke out, before it was imminent, I was in a review session with traders and we were sitting with oil somewhere in the $90 range. And I saw on the charts that it could easily get to $100 a barrel. And that just sounded a little wild or a little severe at the time. And you can see it quickly unfolded, okay? So use your price action, use your short-term action to be able to trade any of these forecasts, whether you're making them or you see me sharing one here, and be prepared for any major fundamental news releases and changes that could really affect this market because it's highly driven by that. All right, with all those warnings and all that insight, I hope you found value in this video. Remember to subscribe, like, follow, and comment. I love hearing what you guys want to learn more about, what you appreciated or learned out of this video. So make sure you drop a comment down below, and I'll catch you next time. Go ahead and sign up at the link to get my hot, timely, actionable updates as soon as I publish right to your inbox.